Okay. All right, we're going to begin. Thank you for attending. This is really an outgrowth from all our clients. I've gotten the same questions ever since Hurricane Irene and the snowstorm we had in October. So I figure I'll just do a little webinar. It's a small group. Everyone's a client of Link High, so feel free to ask any questions that you want. And we'll just go over some basic things that everyone should consider for business continuity and disaster recovery. All right. Well, first, we'll go over the definitions of what business continuity is and disaster recovery, just to make sure everyone knows. Business continuity is the activity performed by an organization to ensure that critical business functions will be available to customers, suppliers, and regulators, and other entities. Just really what that means is that your business can continue in the event of some sort of unforeseen event. And then disaster recovery is really a subset of business. It's really the process, policies, or procedures that allow you to continue your business. And like I said before, this is really, businesses really have to prepare for extended weather events now more than ever. And I've lived in Jersey for 43 years now, and this is probably I don't remember two back-to-back events ever in my life. We had Hurricane Irene, which affected pretty much most of the states on the eastern seaboard, and also the snowstorm we had in October. Caused a lot of problems in terms of widespread power outages and tree and power line damages. Actually, we had quite a few clients that were down for up to 9 days throughout New Jersey. And then what I decided to do is we'll start with the most business critical function, which is email for most clients. It's really, email has become the primary mode of communication for most connected businesses. Increasingly, companies connect with vendors and suppliers, employees, and recruits using email as the first option. Now, email continuity solutions for clients with an in-house mail server, which means you have a mail server in your office, which I believe everyone attending the webinar does have what's called an in-house mail server or on-premise mail server. You really should consider an email continuity solution. They're very inexpensive. You start around $3.50 per box. And what they do is, in case your mail server is down, they'll spool your email for up to a week, which is very important, since if you have an extended power outage, what happens is if someone sends an email, your mail server is down for power problems, internet problems, there's a bounce back. It's going to say, Susan SCB title, unavailable, mailbox unavailable, or Bob Dixon, Olympus Power, unavailable. You certainly don't want to bounce back to go back to your clients or vendors. And the second most important part is the ability to view and reply to incoming emails when your mail server is down from any internet browser. So your office could be completely down, or your mail server, and you could view from home through an internet browser any incoming email. So if there's any incoming emails, you would see that and the reply. These services, and there's quite a few out there, I'll check your mail server every 15 minutes, see if it's up. And once it's up, the process of spooling back your email. So you certainly won't lose anything. Everything will just go back to your mail server. Any questions? I think most people on the webinar have an email continuity service, from what I remember. Second one, hosted email solutions. It's usually it's an internet hosting service that provides email services to small organizations, 25 users or less. It's very cost effective. I've noticed that a lot of our smaller clients are using hosted. Some of the advantages, it's certainly less expensive to outsource because the capital costs associated with an in-house solution. You don't have to buy a server, there's no software licensing, You don't need to worry about antivirus or spam. It's probably the cheapest disaster recovery solution for email, since usually the hosting company is not geographically close to your clients or to its customers. You can work anytime, anywhere with a hosted email, and then you don't have to worry about the backup. It's all done by your hosted provider. And pricing, I've seen pricing range from $6 or $7 a mailbox up to $15, $20. So it's a very cost-effective solution. Some of the disadvantages, well, one, a hosted solution may not work if you have an in-house application that needs a mail server. Like we can't use a hosted email solution, and I wish we could, but our applications require a mail server to be on-premise. Also, if you're subject to a lot of regulations that require archiving, a hosted email solution may not be viable either. Two, they might not be able to archive it in an appropriate manner. Two, a hosted email solution means that you're actually sharing your email. What they do is kind of partition a large email server for your different organizations. That might not be acceptable to certain industries. Just having an in-house backup is not business continuity. Is not a business continuity solution. At minimum, there should be an off-site backup of your important data. It could be as simple as taking your backup media off-site on a regular basis, or you can replicate via the internet, which really means send a copy of your backup to the internet. Prices have gone down quite a bit, even from last year. I think last year was $2 to $5 per gig. Pricing ranges from 50 cents to $1 per gig. You really want to be careful. You really get, in this, with internet backup, it's what you get what you pay for. So if you see a solution that is very inexpensive, I've seen as cheap as 10 cents per gig. Usually it's a single location that is doing consumer backups. They won't have multiple copies of your backup, and they certainly won't have the appropriate software to let you back up a server solution. They're really meant for like a home computer or a single computer. Some of the new solutions include cloud-based backup, which is internet backup, and failover to standby virtual machines. And I'll just kind of go over that. What does it mean? What does failover to standby virtual machines mean? That means you can restore your backup to an off-site location and then work on that virtual copy of the server. LinkEye, we actually use a service that backs up our data locally, because I always want a local backup for restoring it, certainly much quicker than over the internet. It actually backs up our data locally every 15 minutes. And then it replicates a copy of our data off-site via the internet every hour. In an event of an extended outage, meaning days or weeks, we can actually access the virtual backup of our servers via the internet. That's a solution that was only for large corporations until maybe a year or two ago. It would be thousands of dollars per month. The solutions are relatively inexpensive. They're about $300 per week in the event that you really needed to work off your backup. It's only a cost that you incur if you need it. So if you never have that unfortunate event, then you don't need to spin up your backups or spend the $300. You do need to pay for the internet backup cost, which is a monthly fee. And it depends on how much storage you have. Phone systems. Phone systems are another part of business continuity. There's really two types nowadays. There's a hosted VoIP system, very cost-effective for small business. No upfront investment. It may use internet or SIP trunks to call out and receive calls. Phones usually can be used anywhere with internet access or redirected to your cell or home phones. A VoIP system, a hosted VoIP system, will work regardless if power is down in your office. A good example, during the snowstorm, we actually had a friendly competitor come into our office because their main office was down with power, and their employees were completely self-sufficient. Hosted VoIP system, hosted email system, so they just came with their laptops and handsets, and they were able to work out of our conference room for 3 days. So that's really business continuity. In-house VoIP system, it requires initial investment, but there's no monthly cost because you own your system. It has pretty much the same features as hosted VoIP, but if there's no power in your building, then the PBX will be down. It has remote phone capabilities, and what we have here is our technical people have handsets that they can actually bring home before inclement weather, or Jason has one phone that he's going to keep at home in case there's inclement weather. So if you call his extension or you call our support 127, it's going to ring his remote phone at home. So that's a great capability during inclement weather. Employees could just take the phones home and make and receive phone calls. There's been a lot of, another question I've gotten is the quality of the VoIP systems. And the quality is very high depending on the type of VoIP system that you have. If you're using a hosted VoIP and you're just using your internet connection, well, that's dependent on your internet connection, how many uploads or downloads that you're doing on your network. Usually a true hosted VoIP system, you'll get a dedicated internet line or what they call a SIP trunk or a PRI to ensure quality. If you do that, then the quality is as good as a regular, what they call POTS line, plain old telephone service. At Link High here, what we did is we ordered dedicated SIP trunks for our phone system, and actually we were in the process of relocating our phone system to our data center using SIP trunks. So every phone at the Link High offices in Denville will be a remote phone. So we have the best of both worlds. We own the phone system. It's in our data center. We're using SIP trunks, so if our office was down for whatever reason, we could take the phones home and use them just like in the office. So are there any questions? I know we've gone through quite a bit so far. Okay. Oops. Sorry, I had some people muted. Okay. Does anyone have yes.
Hi, Bob Dixon. One question we had is we have a backup solution right now that backs up offline. And when Hurricane Irene came, we noticed that a few users wanted to access files, but the solution that we had in place, although it does a backup, it doesn't allow for access to those files. It's only for disaster recovery. Right. Are there solutions in place right now that would allow for something like that?
Sure. We have one that backs up as an image, but you can retrieve those files through a browser. Or if it's quite a bit of files, then you could just use, they have a dedicated program that you could, it's like an FTP program, and you can download those files back.
Is that something the end user would do, or more that an IT person would do and then get the files for the end user?
It could be either way. It's a web-based interface. Some of our clients give it to all their employees, a login, and others just enforce it just one or two people, or Link High does it.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, and we use that. A good solution would be for that would be the Barracuda backup. We had quite a few people, since they were down from their offices, just restore from their internet browser. I just walked them over the phone. They were able to restore like their QuickBooks files or important Excel spreadsheets to their home computer or a laptop, and then just work on it. And once their power came up, we just copied it back to the server so they had one copy to work with.
Okay. Is the Barracuda backup, is that something that's geared towards smaller companies as well? If you had a smaller office, would that be something that would work for them as well?
Sure, because what it is, it's a NAS that starts at 500 gigs and goes up to 4 terabytes, and it has internet backup. I believe their cost is 50 cents per gig. You have to do at least 100 gigs with them, and it's replicated to 2 data centers. So If you want to restore, it's a web-based interface locally or from the internet. And if those files aren't there, you can restore from their data centers, either one. Okay. Very easy process. It's a great solution. We probably have 20 or 30 clients using that.
And does that work both on Windows-based networks and Mac-based networks as well?
I'll back up the Mac files, yes, and you can restore it. Okay. But there is no native client, unfortunately, for the Mac. So you could just restore the file through a browser. But the restore program, if you want to restore like several gigs or 100 megabytes or more, is only PC-based.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, that's a great backup solution. We were actually using the Offsite Backup solution until about August. And then I've decided with Irene and Snowstorm that we wanted a business continuity solution because we have so many clients that depend on us. And probably a third of our clients are outside the tri-state area now. They're actually in Arizona, California. So we went to the route using this backup solution that we can actually spin up the backups and run them as virtual servers. The intent is really, in case Denville goes down or office goes down for a week or so, we can at least function remotely from home or another location.
Great.
Yeah, and that's the solution. Now, I've been looking at it for about 3 years, but it's never been cost effective. And it finally at $300 a week if you need to use it is well worth it to me.
And you said it's 50 cents per gig?
50 cents per gig. And we're actually going to spin up one of the servers this weekend to test it. And they'll let you do one test for free.
Okay, great.
Any other questions? All right. Well, if there wasn't any other questions, this is something I'm probably going to do every other month, and these are all outgrowths of our client questions. What I like to do is I just kind of collect them, and I'll do a short webinar every quarter or so. And we're also going to put this on our YouTube page by tomorrow. So it's someone that you could forward those links to anyone you want, or watch it again for your reference.
Great.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Take care.